Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and to commemorate the pre-release events for this upcoming weekend for the One Piece card game Paramount War, I've decided to do an updated tier list for the Set 2 meta. So this is obviously more prediction-based than results-based. I've done a little bit of playtesting, and I've seen a little bit of the results from Asia from this meta, and I just wanted to do a just kind of low to the ground my opinions on it so you guys can have some thoughts going into the regionals, and then once that is over and I get some results, I'll do an updated tier list as well. So that's the plan today. And again, sorry for being on the road right now. If there's any quality issues, that's just because of that. So sorry about that, but let's just jump on into this one. So our tiers for today are highly competitive. So I would expect it to win an event, or at least top. Competitive is that I would expect it to top and not too crazy for it to get the win. Highly playable is that it can occasionally get some tops, but I would not expect it to win an event. Playable is that it might get a top 16, and then King tier is already for King. We're going to even put him right there already. So bam, there he is. So we're going to go over all of the new leaders, and then we're going to go back through all of the old leaders from set 1 and the starter decks. So we're going to start off with the Edward Newgate, and I think he's highly playable in this meta, and I didn't see him doing super duper well in Asia based on the results I've seen. I see him do really well for set 3 when he gets a little bit more support for his archetype and everything like that. I think they even won the Worlds event if I saw the right event. It's very difficult for me to find the correct data for some of that, but I believe it got first and second Worlds in set 3, but in set 2 I think he's very good. If he ended up getting set 3, if he won in set 2, I'll let you guys know in the comments below that he probably should be put to highly competitive. But in general, he's a really unique leader. I like what he does. I've already made a video kind of going over him. And the only thing is that I think in this set specifically, I think some of his better cards are better in other red leaders that generically just get more value. But when we get the additional support in set 3, I think he's going to jump up kind of a little bit. So I think he's still a really cool leader. I like what he does. I mean, a 6K leader is really interesting, and I like the whole thing about it. So next up, we have Garp, and I think he's right here next to him. I think that Garp I really like the leader. I like the fact that he's multicolor, and I honestly the effect is really really cool. And the only issue with it is that I don't think that there's really any synergy you get for playing red and black, because black really cares about the cost of your opponent's cards, and red really cares about the power of your opponent's cards. And since there's not a lot of synergy between the two of them, it's just a cool leader that can run red and black cards. So maybe that's enough for what it is, but from my own playtesting, I don't think it's really good at what it does. It's neat, but also the fact that it has to be at 4 life is also a big detriment. And I think there's other better multicolor leaders for black than this one. So I don't know. I think the leader's really neat. I don't think he does as much as I'd want him to right now. Maybe if there's some synergy like for the archetype, then I'd probably get back on board. But right now, it's just a really neat leader in my mind. So we're gonna keep it there. Kinemon, we're going to put him all the way up here in highly competitive. We've been seeing him doing very well in the Asia events that we've been covering. He's just a really strong green leader, and green's already pretty good with a lot of its basic generic cards, especially since, I mean, we had Kid top as much as it did, and it really has no synergy, right? It's just like, here's a bunch of good green cards. Like, there's some Supernova stuff, sure, but it's just that the fact, the leader's good, but so now that green actually has, like, a pretty comparable archetype to kind of go around with it, and then like another like big boss monster. I think this is good, and just being able to cheat out cards for cheaper with this leader, I think is very strong. So I think we're going to see a lot of them in these top cuts, and we'll see if that's true. Sanji's oh man, I don't want to put anything in playable that I haven't really tested enough, but Sanji's really neat. Sanji's also really, really neat as a multicolor leader. So if you play something if you have 3 or less cards out and you play something without a skill, you get to get 2 Dawn back. So he's really cool for rushing the board, and obviously the effects are great there. Unfortunately, like the only real archetype stuff that we get for like cards without skills are like red. Red has inherently a lot, and those are 2 colors that are not red. So I think this is a leader we can come back to. I'm sure it's going to get some support later, and obviously it being green is kind of nice too. So it is one of the better colors to be kind of paired with. But I'm not really seeing a lot. I mean, unless you play like a Pacifista, you get the Dawn back, and so maybe that's something I need to look through more. I haven't seen it top a lot. I've seen people try to make it work. I know Sanji's a fan favorite, but I haven't found it yet. And again, like I'm super okay with being wrong with a lot of these picks because it means that it's some space I haven't explored. I like being able to have a card game have more depth than I think. So I'm just gonna put it there for now. If you guys have a sweet list for Sanji that's working well with you, let me know. I'd love to cover it or like to explore it more myself. So we're gonna put him in that middling area right now. Emporio, we're going to put in competitive. I think it's a really strong blue list for what it is. It's a really weird archetype. It's a really, really weird archetype, but it's one that you're able to generate a lot of advantage for, even and just kind of like not run out of steam. The amount of power you have is kind of like middling, but like you always have that power, right? If you know what I mean, because you always get to draw back up to 2 cards. You have a lot of effects that are based on having not a lot of cards in hand, and honestly, the effects are really strong when you're able to kind of go for it. So I think it's cool. I think it's a deck that I stink with, but I've seen a lot of people do very well with, and I want to try to get better with it. But I think it's a good choice from a competitive standpoint. Man, I don't even is this Magellan? I you can tell if I don't know the name. I haven't played with him a lot, but I haven't really seen him do anything. I know Impel Down is pretty much like a new archetype, but honestly, I'm gonna say like it looks like Kaido just runs it better. Honestly, the effect is pretty bad for him. Whenever you do like a Dawn Minus, he gets plus 1k, which is neat, but not very good for what where we're at right now. So I think he's okay. I haven't made the deck, so if this is wrong, let me know. But I haven't seen anyone play this deck, honestly. I'd be tempted to put him in King tier, but we'll put him in playable just so we're not super duper wrong, and we'll kind of go from there. And then we have Z, and I'm gonna. This might be a little risky. We're gonna put him all the way in highly competitive. I really like this leader. He's really fun. I think purple and black synergize way better than red and black in this deck. The minus effect is really great. It works really well with the secret rare. I've already made a list with this deck, so I think it's very strong, and I've been really enjoying what it does. And I expect this to be played a lot. Maybe highly competitive is putting up a tier a little bit too high, but man, I've been enjoying him a lot, and I hope he gets to get some finishes there. So I talk more of him in my video if you guys want to see about it, but I think he's very strong. Smoker, I think he's the best mono black leader that we have. I'm gonna put him competitive just because he's. I haven't tested him as much. Have tried oh man, the star. I always forget his name. The Star Deck Black Leader. I think it's Sakazuki, something around that. But I think he's just a little bit better than him. I think he has better synergy for the black cards, and both of them are pretty solid. I'm going to put him like right here. But I'd say like from the start, black is a little bit underwhelming compared to some other colors based on synergies and card pool stuff. But it does have some of the best removal in the game. The Kuzan Secret Rare obviously just helps facilitate that a lot. And I've been playing, a lot of Z with the effect of being able to get to turn 10 and then using the effects there. And so having a five leader life leader with like one of these two, I think both of them are pretty strong at doing that. I think Smoker's probably a little bit better. I have some decks brewing with him as well, so if you guys want to see, I know some people have already said in the comments they want me to see to produce some builds, so I'll try to do that as well. But there we go. This is my thoughts of the leaders from the second set, Paramount War, and as well as the Star deck. So not anything too crazy. I could be wrong with I think Garp and Edward Newgate I could be wrong about, but I just haven't seen them do as well as I think these other 4 leaders. And we're gonna just leave it at that. All right, those are the new leaders. Let's go into our old leader tier list, and it is the Zoro. We're gonna start with. We're gonna put highly competitive. He has an unofficial new archetype, which is great. It's just all of the 1-drop weenies that gain a lot of effects. And when you can play a bunch of, if you can fill your board out really well and you can add those 1k boost, that really adds up for Zoro. So it makes him really strong in a lot of ways. So I think he's good for what he is. I think that I think you're going to see a lot of Zoro. Unfortunately, it's going to be maybe aggressively rough, but we're going to put him there. Law, I think I'm going to put him down competitive. I think there's more removal than we saw in set 1, and sometimes it can be a little bit harder for him to set up and do his effects, but he also did get a lot of new tools and a lot of good 1-drops, reds that Zoro's using the same way, and just like a lot of better cards that are just low cost that you can help use for your cycle, and just really good on-play effects as well. So I think this might be lowballing him a little bit, but I think he's really good. I think if you like Trafalgar Law in set 1 and you still want to play him in set 2, I think there's a lot of new options for you, and you're still going to do very well with it. Red Green Luffy, we're going to put him down in playable. I don't think he never really did anything here in North America, and I don't think he will still do anything in Japan. I don't think there's any new cards specifically that he can abuse. And I think if you're playing red green, you're playing Law. Like he's just strictly better for the coloring and archetype and stuff. So not a lot there. Odin. Oh boy, do I put him playable high? Sure. There's some new Wano Country cards. I'll put him in there optimistically. He probably deserves to be down here, but I think he's okay for what he does. I think Kinemon is just way better as an Odin, like as a Wano Country leader. So like you're probably playing Kinemon, but he's cool. Nah, we're playing him playable. No regrets. We'll put him there. We'll see how he does. If there's any Odin stands in the comments, let me know that I disrespected your boy, but we'll put him right there. Don Quixote Doflamingo, he didn't. You get one like piece of real support, which is the promo pack Jimbei, which is a 7 Warlords and has a really good on KO effect. So I think that card by itself makes it a little bit viable. I might be putting him a little bit too high. I think Emporio might be just better than Dofi right now, but I think a lot of people will be trying to play Dofi with the new stuff, and if people were playing in set one, they'll be playing in this set. And Blue did get some kind of generic new support cards too, so I don't. He's probably needs to be in highly played. I'll put him competitive just because I think he's neat, and we'll see if he lives there. Kaido Blue Purple. Man, he did get some new tools. I'm not denying it, but I think generically the purple Kaido is still just better than him. I think he's just better in competitive. I think the new film starter deck that we did get that only what we didn't have any events with just the film starter deck. We're going to film starter deck 6 and Paramount War all at once. I think he lost a little bit of time that he could have shined with those new cards, and then it just kind of left him. So I don't know. I think he's cool. I really like what he does, and I think he can be strong. But I think we're just going to keep him here in highly playable. Blue Purple Croc, we're going to put him in highly playable too. Same kind of stuff. There are some new tools for him, and maybe he can get some top. Like this is a deck that you keep getting, a leader you keep going back to just because any event card support is support for him generically. So he could still be good here. I just don't think. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure I have seen any super duper good tops with him in Asia, or at least just any deck lists that kind of contend with some of the top ones. So we're gonna leave him there. Uta is still not very good. Luffy, I'm gonna put him competitive. I think Zoro's just strictly better than him, but he can. I think he's better than Edward Newgate with the cards from the set. Honestly, like at least like his top end cards, like the secret rare, the Edward Newgate secret rare is really good in Luffy. I think it almost will probably replace Shanks in a lot of ways. The new Vista is really good. So there's just like a lot of good support that Luffy gets generically because it's a lot of the Edward Newgate support is pretty generic. So I think he's strong. I think if you want to try to run like some of the Whitebeard pirate stuff, I think Luffy's like a slightly better leader for it. In this set, I think set 3, Edward takes it back, but we're gonna leave it there. Kid, Kid's still great. It's even though it's like not an archetype. Generically, what the deck does is just good. It's you've been seeing how much has been topping here in North America. I don't think that's going to go anywhere anytime soon, and we're just going to leave him up there. We do have the Crocodile. He's fine. He's just a fine leader. I think even though like here's the thing, like Blue doesn't really have like a really good generic good leader. Like a lot of these other colors, like Luffy, generically a really good leader. Kid, a generically good leader there. Like Purple Kaido's kind of like that, but his archetype's strong enough that he's there. But for just generic stuff, Crocodile's like the one for it. And unfortunately, like this Blue doesn't have like a lot of generically good cards like Green and Red does, so it's just harder for it to be carried by those. So we're gonna leave him playable. We'll see how he feels. It's also very funny that it lined up that he's got a giant head right here. But we have Kaido. We're going to put him in competitive as well. I think he is doing pretty much the same stuff he's been doing. I think he runs the Impel down archetype better than Magellan, honestly. So he's just going to hang out right there. And then also Shanks is still also pretty bad still. So Let me just rearrange these see if there's any differences. And here are my quick final thoughts because I know a lot of you guys just jump to the end and then without even listening to my explanation say, oh, why'd you put Smoker so low? He's my favorite. So Kinemon, I think, is the best, one of the best leaders. I think all three of these are really good. Z is probably not maybe in here, but I really want him to, so I'm going to put him up there. That's one of my prediction points. But I think these three leaders are generically very good. They've been topping a lot of events in Asia, and I think they're going to top a lot of events here as well. Competitive, I think these are leaders that have a potential to top. I still think Luffy's great. I know a lot of people will just be honing in on the Zoro, but he's just really good for what he is. And I think he runs better Whitebeard stuff in set 2 than actual Edward Newgate himself. Emporio is really neat for what it does. I think is a little bit better than Dofi, but I think both can have some chance for doing well. Kaido is just solid for what he is still. Like it's just like Kaido still just loses to himself at times. Trafalgar Law is good. Also, you do have to be worried about the new techs against him, but also he has a lot of new techs for him as well, so it kind of evens out. I just think he'll get some tops. Don't worry. I think he'll do well. Smoker, I think, is the better of the two generic like five cost or 5 life black leaders, but maybe this is wrong. We can easily switch. These are just my opinion. I think he can move up too if you guys like him better. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing him if you just like the black archetypes. Edward Newgate, I think he's good in set 3. In set 2, he's just okay. If this is wrong, we'll find out. Garp, I think, is neat, but I don't like the synergy between red and black. I think other colors are better. In general, like all these 4 life leaders, I think are really neat, but there isn't really a good way to abuse their multicolor stuff as much as, like I say, Trafalgar Law or Z right now. So we're gonna put them down here. I really want to see any of these top, by the way. Like any of these top, it probably means that the list is super sweet, and I want it. So playable, these are just okay leaders that honestly just don't have an archetype that's good enough, or their archetype is just better in another leader, so which is really weird. And then just kind of our bottom 3 here, which will probably be our bottom 3 for a long time. So anyways, that is our video for us today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what leaders I got wrong. Let me know where I should put your boys and girls, and that will be it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.